Good afternoon, everyone. So it's 12:59. We're going to give one another minute so you have a chance to grab some water or have a last minute break for the bathroom. So we'll see you in 1 minute. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. It's 1 o'clock. We would like to be respectful of your time. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. And welcome to Promoting Diversity in Preschool Classroom webinar. On behalf of Early Learning Coalition and our education team, thank you to all who participated in our previous webinars. And just a little reminder that you can find all the recordings for all the previous presented webinars on our ELC website. So let's begin. We would like to start out by introducing ourselves. First, we'll go my wonderful co-worker and friend, Miss Ida Brar. Ida.
Thank you, Agnes. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our webinar. My name is Ida Brar. I am a quality and education coaching specialist for the ELC of Broward County, serving providers, children, and families in Broward. So I was born in a small town in Puerto Rico called Maya West, but I was raised in New York, which makes me a New Yorican. A little bit more about Puerto Rico and its people. We are a mixture of Spaniards, Africans, and Tiano Indians, which are the native Indians of Puerto Rico. I love this about myself. I can just kiss myself knowing that I am a little bit of everything. That being said, I have my Bachelor's of Science in Early Childhood Education from Barry University, my Master's of Science in Reading from Florida International University. I'm a class certified observer, MMCI trainer for infants, toddlers, and pre-K. I've worked as an elementary school teacher in Broward County and a preschool teacher in childcare centers as well. I love to teach. That's my passion. That's my calling. If you've heard any of my webinars before, I say this all the time. I love to travel and explore different foods and cultures. One of the countries I would like to visit is Poland. That's where my BFF co-presenter is from. And I have 20 years of early childhood experience. So that's a little bit about me. Take it away, Agnes.
Thank you, Ida. How I'm going to follow this up. So as my co-presenter and co-worker, Ida, my name is Agnieszka Bodhi, and I am also, as Ida, Quality of Education and Coaching Specialist here for ELC of Broward, providing services for the teachers, children, and families. I was born and also in very small city, but all the way in Europe, in central part of Europe, in a small city, a little smaller than Texas. Uh, Poland, and we are sharing borders with Germany, Czech Republic, and also a couple of those small little countries that used to be Russia and Russia. And on the north of Poland, we have this beautiful Baltic Sea. Little interesting things about my culture is that probably people love to eat our famous pierogies and Polish sausage, and I know my coworker Ada loves my Polish soups. So that's a little bit about me. I am immigrant from Poland. I came here to United States in 2001 to New York. And now since 2004, me and my family, we are calling our home Florida. So this topic of diversity is very, very dear to heart to me. And I know I can speak for Ida too. I love to travel and find out, information about other culture, learn in other languages. I've been traveling a lot around the Europe, and then my dream was to come to America, and there you go, here I am. So this is very dear to my heart. So I am also a certified observer for class, MMCI trainer. I obtained my master's degree in Świętokrzyska Academy University in Poland. I work as a preschool teacher and administrator, and also have over 20 plus years of experience. So this is about me a little bit. So let's go and go over some webinar housekeeping. So as you can see, on your right side, you have this go to webinar control panel. So when you click on the orange rectangle, you can either open or close this panel, and that panel give you a few options. If you want to ask a question throughout this presentation, simply click on the question triangle. And then we have some wonderful handouts for you. So if you want to download them, simply click on the handouts, and then the handouts list will show. You can click on them, and the PDF file will open, and that's going to allow you to download those handouts. So attendance, credits, pre, post test, and evaluations. Remember that all ELC Broward trainings are for in-service only. Your training certificate will be emailed within 24 hours and sent to you to your email that you enter when you were registering for these presentations. In order to be marked as attended, you must log into your computer or download the GoToWebinar app on your smart device, tablet, or phone. If you just call from the phone and you are not able to see this presentation, you will unfortunately not be marked as attended. So also, when you registered for this presentation, you had to answer 3 pre-post questions. So after we finish this presentation, those 3 same questions will come out as a post test, and then 5 questions for our survey. And please complete all the information and answer this question, because we do value your feedback. So what are we going to do today during this presentation? Welcome and introductions, which we just completed. We're gonna go over training objectives. We talk about components of creating a diversity-rich environment in the preschool classroom, which includes values and attitudes, curriculum and physical environment, materials, books and toys, language, communication and behavior guidance, families, colleagues and program leadership. We're gonna have some polls and videos, and we're going to talk about some strategies for your classroom. So let's go over some objectives. We're going to examine what a diversity-rich environment looks like and why it is important in early childhood education. We're going to recognize the expertise you already have, so you increase your confidence. We're going to highlight how diversity gives your classroom strength, and we will present practical strategies to you with your children, families, and colleagues. So there is a time for our first poll. Knock, knock.
Who's there? Poll time?
It's me, Ida. It's time for our first poll.
Yay!
So the first poll is, what do you think? A diversity-rich environment is not necessary in the childcare center. True or false? So I'm going to launch the poll now, and we're going to give you approximately 60 seconds so you can cast your vote. Please cast your vote.
Click, click, click. How's it going, Agnes?
Well, we halfway through. They are coming in.
Great.
Okay. I am about to close the poll and share the results. There you go. 83% said it is false. And you are right. The diversity-rich environment is necessary in a child care center because that's how we expose children to diversities, different cultures, and that's how they learn first. So we can show them and then dig deeper and teach them. And we're going to talk about this throughout this presentation. So thank you so much for voting. And next, what is diversity? What is it? The state of being diverse, variety, a range of different things. Diversity refers to differences found in groups of people with regard to race, religion, culture, ability, age, or gender. For example, all races of people do not look the same in terms of features and skin color. People of different cultures will have different kinds of interactions, styles, languages, and traditions. Unfortunately, many people tend to make incorrect assumptions about members of group, which leads to unfair treatment of people in those groups and closed attitudes about differences. Such as attitudes cause many problems in our world societies. So next, let's watch a short clip, video clip with education cartoon, What Diversity. Enjoy. So I hope you enjoyed that little video clip. So what does this diversity mean and what does the culture mean? Sometimes we mixed up the words diversity and culture. Diversity means differences. People may be different in many ways, including race or ethnicity, age, gender, physical abilities, disabilities, language, nationality, culture, education, appearance, or religious and political beliefs. Culture is about the daily experiences that shape people's understanding of life. It is a way of life of a group of people, the behaviors, beliefs, values, and symbols that they accept, generally without thinking about them, and that are passed along by communication and imitation from one generation to the next. It is activities, memories, and language we share. Daily experiences for young children include how babies are comforted, the way they are cuddled, how and what they are fed with, and where they sleep. For older children, it means the games they play, the books they read, and the number of toys they have. So what its diversity reach means? We're going to look through this presentation and we're going to highlight this term diversity reach many times. And I just wanted to point out here, here is where my country, Poland, is located in Europe. Here is when Ida comes from, Puerto Rico, and here is Florida, when we get to meet each other. So I wanted to share this beautiful motto with you. Bineka Tunggal Ika, those who are different yet one. Are you aware that Bineka Tunggal Ika is a slogan in the national emblem of Indonesia? As such, it refers to the great diversity of people and culture in the archipelago who are nevertheless united in one state. I love this motto, and I love the Indonesian culture and beautiful colors and everything about Asia just fascinates me. That's might be next place I want to go. But also, we have something in common with Indonesia, which is color of our flags. Polish flag looks like that, is white and red, and Indonesia's flag is red and white. So I just wanted to share as a fun fact. Bineka Tunggal Ika is the official national motto of Indonesia, and the phrase is from Old Javanese translated as a unity in diversity, out of many, one. It is inscribed in the Indonesian national symbol. Unity in diversity, Indonesia's motto, sums up our common humanity, says the Secretary General in Jakarta, addressed to United Nations. I just wanted to share that with you. Okay, so what does diversity reach mean? Diversity reach mean understanding that everyone is unique and recognizing individual differences. It requires conscious practice of mutual respect, sharing, and celebrating each other. During this webinar, we will use the term diversity reach to acknowledge that our early childhood environment have a vast variety of cultures in children, families, and staff members. Okay. So let's look at this slide. Young children are not born with preconceived biases to distinguish differences in others. They learn it from society. They quickly learn, such as attitude as they watch and learn from what others do and say. A child who is exposed to messages saying that certain differences are bad soon learns to believe and act according to those messages. We as a parents and early childhood professionals should encourage children to view others as individuals without preconceived notions, to see a positive side to differences rather than the negative one, and to focus on similarities rather than on differences. So high quality early childhood education should provide experiences to encourage acceptance of diversity. Acceptance of diversity means that instead of viewing differences as a negative, they are seen as a strength, adding more flavor to life, allowing all to contribute in a unique way. Children learn that differences among groups exist and can be respected and enjoyed rather than feared and disliked. In addition, there is a focus on the similarities that binds us together as humans rather than a concentration on how we differ. Which brings us and me to this beautiful quote of our beloved late Maya Angelou. It is time for parents to teach young people early on that in diversity there is a beauty and there is a strength. So diversity is a strength. So how can we show this to our children? As young children enter the first year of school, they'll get to know peers with a wide variety of abilities, cultures, languages, and backgrounds. It is totally natural for them to notice similarities and differences and express curiosity. And it's up to the grown-ups in their lives not to only model acceptance of diversity, but to frame it as a strength. Helping children appreciate the similarities and differences between themselves and others, and reassure them that talking about differences is okay and encouraged. In the following slides, I will be talking about some practical strategies that will be a great starting point for helping all young children, learners appreciate other cultures and values and beliefs. So first, we can start by choosing some classroom themes that celebrate diversity. Make some cultural messages as part of your regular team and classroom practices all year long. For example, instead of inviting diverse families to share favorite traditions with the class once a year in the winter, embed these cultural experiences and conversation regularly throughout the school year. Have conversations with your students that help them view these multicultural lessons with open mind. And you might say, for example, this is a holiday my family doesn't celebrate. I think it's really fun to learn about other traditions. Amplifying the perspectives of diverse children and families all year around will help children see that culture is all around them, not just something that they learn about during holidays. So what else can we do to help children understand the diversity as a strength? We can help children verbally share their things that they make them special, build children's cultural identity, and boost self-esteem by giving them chances to share their strength with the class. Begin by talking with your class about how important it is to help each other, other people, and make them feel good about themselves. Emphasize how scary it could be to feel like you are different from other people, and how brave it is to share the things that are unique about yourself and your family. Then provide your children with opportunity to share interesting facts about themselves, their families, and their passions and talents. Teach kids words they can say to support one another and make each other feel valued during the share sessions. That's cool. I never knew that before. I like the way you do that. Can you tell me more about it? Next, teach children it's okay to ask questions. Sometimes children are taught that asking questions is rude and intrusive when it's actually a great way to learn about differences. Rather than stigmatizing questions, show children how to ask them sensitively and appropriately. For example, if you overheard a student pointing out something she noticed about another classmate, why does he wear glasses? Guide the children in having conversation about the differences. Emma was wondering why you wear glasses, Julio. Can you tell us about your glasses? Next, have open conversations about stereotypes and biases. The roots of biased viewpoints take hold when children are young. To reduce bias and support children's development and compassion and understanding, explicitly tackle stereotypes and biases in your early childhood classroom. For example, as you paint class portraits, talk about how great it is to see many similarities and differences, but also point out that sometimes people treat each other badly or differently because of their looks, the color of their skin, the cultural beliefs, or their gender. Share with children that this is unfair. It is not how people should treat one another. In an increasingly diverse global society, it's important to have conversations like this to reduce the likelihood that children will adopt biases and stereotypical viewpoint. Next, express positive interest in diverse culture. Show genuine interest and enthusiasm whenever young children share something about themselves, their values, or the culture. For example, you might say things like, wow, that is so interesting. I'm really glad to learn about it. I really like that tradition. Or, my family does things differently from yours, but isn't that great that there are so many different ways families can show that how they love each other? Next, respect and emphasize with all the children. Regardless of the background or abilities, be sure to treat children in your classroom as competent, capable learners. And then set a goal in examples. Throughout the school, the children will often wonder how to respond to their classmates' differences and challenges. Stay mindful that they are looking to you as a model and resolve to set a good example they can follow. In summary, each year you will encounter diversity of many children types in your classroom. Your students will differ in their language, culture, ability, socioeconomic status, and developmental levels. Start young children early on the path to respect and acceptance by modeling empathy and displaying enthusiasm for diversity every day. With support from you, the other adults in their lives, all young learners can help each other feel proud, accepted, and values. So next, because we grown-ups, we need to help those children to feel accepted, loved, valued, and proud of themselves. We grown-ups, it's up to us to help them with it. So now me and Ida would like to share this beautiful affirmation, positive affirmation book for children. And so we're going to take turns of reading. So this book is dedicated to you. I hope you enjoy it. You are incredible just the way you are. I was born to do great things, some big and small. I am here to make a difference. I spread love to all. I'm special.
I have a roof over my head and food on the table. I am happy for a family who provides what they are able. I am thankful.
I talk about my problems when I am feeling down. There are people who care about me and want to turn my frown ups down. I am loved.
I eat healthy food like fruits and vegetables. I make sure to run, play, and do my stretches. I am healthy.
I treat all people the way I want to be treated. It is important to be nice and help others when it's needed. I am kind.
There is so much to learn when I'm in school, so I make sure to practice my reading, math, and science too. I am smart.
We are all different and come in many colors and sizes. The only thing that matters is what is inside of us. I am important.
I love my body and the person that I am. I will be the best that I can be and give it all that I can. I am happy.
I am glad to be me. So here you see an example of daily activity that's important for children, for parents of young children, and us, early childhood education professionals, that sometimes we take the child in the front of mirror, standing there, and every day repeat all of the sentences that start with the words I am, and tell them, I want you to really believe it, just like I do. If people say things to you that are not nice, you will know in your heart that this is not true. You are amazing, and I am so proud of you. So next, there is the slide that I encourage you to take a screenshot because these are a wonderful discussion question, open-ended question that you can have a conversation with children to talk about the similarities and differences and those positive affirmations. So Ida was going to go over some of them. So Ida, take it away.
Thank you, Agnes. So as Agnes mentioned, take a picture, it lasts longer. So here we go. I'm going to go over the first one. How do you think the boy in the wheelchair, that's the first picture, that's the one Agnes read, feels to have children play with him? And then you do the affirmation. So the child may, I am happy, or I am joyful, or I'm excited. And yes, he's in a wheelchair, and that is a great thing, and adds to the diversity of your classroom. And doing these discussions and having these conversations with the children, this book is, like Agnes said, we really, really enjoy it and recommend it in your classroom. So that is one of the discussion questions, and there's about 12 of them here, and you can make some of your own. So with that being said, Ida will continue. Here we go. So let me read this quote from Tom Robbins. Our similarities bring us to a common ground. Our differences allow us to be fascinated by each other. So our similarities bring us together, and embracing our differences will allow us to grow and become more knowledgeable about each other. So let's celebrate those similarities and differences with charts and artwork in your classroom. So how am I going to do this? During class discussions, point out how wonderful it is to have so many children in your class with similarities and differences, and how differences makes each of us unique and special. Then with your students, help create a chart with all the children's different eye color, hair color, length, favorite foods, likes and dislikes, favorite stories, and or family traditions. Reserve a bulletin board or shelf to display artwork and classroom charts that celebrate the many ways we are alike and different. Proudly display the similarities and differences is an excellent way to teach students to value diversity. So now I'm going to talk about values and attitudes in a diverse, rich environment. So the first one I will be discussing is values. Values are a person's principle or standards of behavior. And these standards are often shared with a cultural group, but they may also be an individual judgment of what's important in life. That means there are many values with variations, even in your own cultural group. Your attitude is a subtle way of feeling or thinking about someone or something. It's often shown with behavior. So therefore, one could say that our attitudes are an expression or consolation of our values. So if I hold the value that children learn through play, that is something that I hold dear as an educator. I know my children, as they're playing in centers, they are learning also. You can talk to someone else and they might not think the same way, which is okay. And that's when we start explaining to them. And I hold these values that children must, or another thing, that children must learn their alphabets before kindergarten. There are some educators as well that we are like, we need to teach the ABCs, the sounds, we're preparing them for kindergartens. And so I am going to teach the alphabet, maybe through charts, with songs and engaging activities, rather than just rote repetition. And I will do so intentionally, and this intentionality is my attitude. All right, so I will show you some strategies regarding values and attitudes. So the first one is be aware, be alert, and be intentional when you are doing things with your children regarding diversity. Believe that families want the best for their children. Embrace the concept of universal family values. And you're probably wondering, what does that mean? So throughout the world, all families want their children to become productive adults in their country, in their own culture, but also in the country that they may have immigrated to. So a diverse society, knowing the code of success is difficult. So that's when we kind of like, what are we doing? Now we're somewhere else. So educators with a diversity-rich mindset must embrace the idea of universal core values. And that belief enables us to support families even when we disagree with their practices. Remember, we're coming from different places, different cultures, different languages. Like Agnes says in the beginning, we need to embrace and be acceptable and learn from each other. So the next one is know the values are demonstrated through practice and traditions. So like we mentioned before, it's not just only at the holidays that we celebrate our differences, it's all year round. Be curious about other people's values and practices. Have conversations, be curious with a healthy attitude about, I'm so curious about Poland. I kind of drive Agnes crazy. She's like, okay, Ida, stop asking me. Not really. She's like fascinated that I'm fascinated about it. Children must learn the skills to be successful in the country where they live. So like I said before, when people are immigrating to another country, either here to the United States or somewhere else, they want to be successful in that country. Be aware of your personal values and professional responsibilities concerning diversity and the responsibilities you have as an educator, because you're an educator first. Respect the personal values of families and have a dialogue without imposing your personal views. So you need to be open and don't wait for something to happen to have a conversation. You should be having these conversations throughout the year. And the last but not least, use the NACI Code of Ethical Code to guide your work. And we're going to look at in the next screen. All right. So this is the Code of Ethical Conduct from NACI 2011, and it's a promise, it's a pledge. So as I am reading, you can read along and take that pledge and promise with me. We teachers shall not participate in practices that discriminate against children by denying benefits, giving special advantages, or excluding them from programs or activities on the basis of sex, race, national origin, immigration status, preferred home language, religious beliefs, medical conditions, disabilities, or the marital status or family structure, sexual orientation or religious belief, or other affirmations of their families. Did you all pledge? Thank you. So now it's time for, what is it? Knock, knock. Where's
Who's
my
there?
poll time?
I'm here with second Paul.
Okay, thank you, Agnes. So this is the question. Celebrating the different holidays will be enough to meet the concept of diversity in the preschool classroom. True or false? Agnes will launch the poll and everyone has a chance to vote. We have like 60 seconds. Click, click, click. This is a good one. I like this question or statement.
We'll see if everybody was listening to you.
Oh,
Because
great.
you kind of gave an answer.
Kind of, yeah. Kind of like hint, hint. But yeah, keep voting and thank you for voting. Keep clicking away. And then in a few seconds, Agnes will close the poll and we will see the results. Here, click, click. Mhm. Click, click. Okay. How's it going, Agnes? Are we almost done?
We have more than half through.
Oh, great. Awesome.
Okay, the stop comment. So I'm just going to close the poll.
False, 71% false. Oh, right. Yes, we do celebrate the holidays, and that is part of diversity, but it's not the only thing. So we will mention, like we mentioned in the definition in the beginning of the webinar, diversity means differences. Diversity rich means understanding that everyone is unique and recognizing individual differences. So we all have our holidays, but we all have more than just the holidays. So with that being said, I'm going to be talking about examining curriculum with diversity-rich lens. So I want to share this quote with you from Piaget, Jean Piaget. I just love saying his name. Okay, what we see changes what we know. What we know changes what we see. So the more we know about each other, the more we will see and embrace and be more accepting of our differences, which makes this world a wonderful and better place to live in. Don't you think? I think so. This is a great quote. So with that being said, let's talk about curriculum. So to be effective curriculum, it must be relevant to the learners first. So the children must have like, and you see like when sometimes even like when you're doing an activity in one of the curriculum, you're like, that didn't go so well. So maybe we need to like look at it. Not that the curriculum is bad, but we need to either add more things in order to engage our children. Then if the curriculum is rich with diversity, the children will have a personal connection to it and they'll ask more questions because they feel a connection. Any topic or area of study is an opportunity for intercultural education since everyone will come up with a different point of view, which is okay. And remember, last but not least, honor the languages of all the children and adults in your classroom and program. Okay, so I'm going to talk about some strategies regarding curriculum. So integrating the curriculum, so activities, concept, and materials are used in all the learning center, not just housekeeping and not just blocks, because that's kind of the place that we have a lot of things. So just because you have different breads in the housekeeping, oh, I met diversity because I have croissants and I have a loaf of bread from here, and nope, it's more than that. Provide repetition so children can learn new ideas in depth and practice over a period of time. Teach English explicitly, oh, say that 5 times, so the children can learn vocabulary and concept and they will need in kindergarten. Yes, we are teaching in English, but that doesn't mean that we cannot have another language in our classroom. And I don't mean like, you're gonna be teaching in Spanish or in French all day, but just a couple of words. Which goes into this point that I'm going to say, support the children's home language by making key vocabulary words in their own language. They'll feel connected. They'll feel like she really cares about where I come from and the language that I speak. It is not necessary to be fluent in all the languages. There's no way that you can, learn so many languages, but just a few phrases, 5 or 6 words, keywords, will help you, the children, and their families. So now I'm going to talk about defining the physical environment with that diverse, rich lens in your classroom. So the early childhood environment is often called the third teacher. I don't know if you were aware of that. It promotes learning when it has the elements that the children need. And the first thing that children need in the classroom is safety and a sense of belonging. And that sense of belonging is that when they walk into the classroom, they can see themselves in that classroom because it's so diverse, and the interesting materials in order for them to explore. So it's very important that the environmental message that children receive is about different people in the world society. It considers the images that children experience as they participate in the program and the activities, and also whether how you handle those activities and the displays in your classroom. In some programs, there is a little or no diversity represented in the children or the staff. So you may go somewhere else and you don't see the diversity because the majority of the children are from one culture or in one. So then you say to yourself, I don't need to teach diversity because all of my kids are Hispanic. Nope. So the staff may say this, okay, like I said, there's only one group. I don't need to do anything. They need to show everyone and have materials in order to expose them because they're not going to be in this classroom forever. They're going to be exposed to the world and see the diversity. So we need to teach them, especially in our childcare centers, which is the foundation. Yes, we may not see it in our classroom, but here's, someone from Indonesia. This is someone from China. This is someone from Poland. We need to talk about it and in our classrooms. Certainly, this gives children a chance to see themselves. Oh, and it's going to be time for a poll. Oh, you go. So, Agnes, you ready? Knock, knock. Who's there?
Who's there?
It's poll time. So, here we go. Materials, books, and toys in interest areas, learning centers should reflect the culture of the children in the classroom, other cultures, or both. And Agnes is going to launch the poll, and you're going to have time to vote, about 60 seconds. You were listening. Kind of gave the answer in a way, but we'll see. I get so excited. This is like Agnes said before, this is one thing that Agnes and I are passionate about. Because look at us. She's from Poland, I'm from Puerto Rico, New York. We end up in Florida, working together, BFFs, co-presenters, co-workers. Beautiful thing. Okay, I gotta stop talking.
Indeed.
So how's it going, Agnes?
Yeah, almost half through.
Oh, exciting. Time just flies when you're having fun.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so are we ready to share the results, Agnes?
We almost there.
Okay.
Okay. Let's share.
Yay, 91% said both. Kiss your brain. Yes, we need to, the children in the classroom, and if you don't have a diverse classroom, you are still going to be teaching other cultures. And with that being said, it's going to turn it over to Agnes. Take it away, Agnes.
Thank you, Ida, for all this great information. So now I'm going to examine materials, books, and toys with a diversity-rich lens. So all materials in your classroom need to mirror diversity. This include books, music, food, dolls, wall decorations, and dramatic play prompts. And they must show openness in gender role, racial and cultural backgrounds, capabilities, family lifestyles, economic groups, and types of work. Important considerations that the materials must reflect the culture of the classroom so the children can see themselves as well as the classmates and their teachers. They also should reflect the diversity of culture in the wider community so children learn more about others, just like Ida mentioned that before. It is important that educators introduce the materials, books, and toys to the children while pointing the similarities and the differences. This might happen as they read a book with characters with different ethnic backgrounds or skin colors or abilities. For example, when reading Peter's Chair by Ezra Jack Keats, they might say, I noticed that Peter's skin is black. In our classroom, Jamar and Lisa and Mohammed have black skin too, just like Peter. As they observe children play, educators should be alert to what the children are saying. That gives them the opportunity to find the teachable moments to help children think about diversity. They may hear children say they do not want to play with the doll in the wheelchair because it's weird. Then they find the time to talk about at the moment, or maybe in small groups, or even in a large group. And she might say, this doll needs a wheelchair to move. Some people in real life cannot walk and use wheelchair too. In our class, nobody has a wheelchair. Do we know someone who does? And that will open the floor for discussion with children, which is very beneficial and is a teachable moment. So let's look at this next slide. What is wrong about this picture? All these dolls are of one race, so the children are unable to see the diversity among people represented in those dolls. So we have to fix that. It is important, very important, that the children can identify themselves with the materials in the classrooms. The environment message that the children receive should be about different people in the world societies. It considers the images that children experience as they participate in your program. In some programs where there is little or no diversity represented in the children or staff, people often think that there is no need to represent diversity in materials. And like Ida mentioned it before, staff might say that since there are only one group represented in the children in the classroom, they do not need to show anyone else in their materials. Certainly, this gives the children a chance to see themselves represented, but it does not encourage learning about and accepting the diversity and other cultures. Therefore, it is recommended to all programs to teach about and accepting the diversity, whether they include or do not include variation in staff and children. So next, I'm going to talk about what kind of materials we should include in our learning center. So in Dramatic Play Center, in the house or dramatic play center, whatever you call it, display toys that reflect the culture of children, feature dolls that are multicultural with varied skin colors, include child size or toy disability aids, multicultural foods, and dress-up clothes that represent different occupation and cultures, display flags of different home countries of children, display toys that include diverse perspectives to all children. For example, the dollhouse has figures of varied ages, abilities, disabilities, and occupations. Figures may be young or elderly with full or limited mobility, walking or using wheelchairs or walkers. Materials show diversity in a positive way and requires that the messages about the people are good and do not stereotype members of any group. People are shown as humans who are pleasant, capable, and to be valued. So when it comes to music center, display and make accessible for children musical instruments representing varied cultures. Introduce children to different types of music: reggae, rap, hip hop, country, classical music, Latin. Music from varying cultures is used during the nap time. Organize festivals with children, performances, music, or dances from their cultures, and ask families of their favorite musicians from their countries. Display books about different folks and traditional dances and of some famous musicians, for example, Bob Marley. And display all kinds of different traditions and folk dances, history of them, and not only in library but all throughout the classroom and in each center. So show some videos of children playing different kinds of games in other countries, and also invite a guest speaker volunteer to come into the classroom to teach children folk songs and dances of different countries. So next, I wanted to introduce to you this amazing young lady whose name is Yazira. Yazira is 16 years old, and I wanted to give shout out to my former coworker and friend, Kati. Hi, Kati, if you're there. I just wanted to thank you so much for sharing those beautiful images and a little bit about your baby, Yazira. Me and Kathy used to work together as a teachers, and I remember Yazira running around our school when she was approximately 2 years old. I don't even think she remembers me, but Yazira is Kathy's baby. She's 16 years old now, and wanted to share those beautiful images of her because Yazira loved Latin music, and she began dancing since she was 6 years old. She was born here, but loved her mother culture from Barranquilla, Colombia. Yazira is a member of the dance group called Fantasia Colombiana, a group that dances all music from Latin music and from Colombia. Last year, she was selected as a Reina Infantil Carnaval de Barranquilla, USA, Miami, 2019. The Carnival of Barranquilla, Carnaval da Barranquilla in Spanish, is one of the Colombia's most important folkloric celebrations and one of the biggest carnival after Rio de Janeiro. This is the second biggest carnival in the world, which I didn't know that before. I learned something. The carnival has traditions that date back to 19th century and exactly 1888. The carnival originates from combinations of pagan ceremonies, Catholic beliefs, and ethnic diversity, and is a mixture of the European, African, and Indian traditions and dances. The carnival begins on the Saturday before Ash Wednesday with La Batalla de Flores, the Battle of the Flowers, which is the carnival's most important event. It is 6 hours show presided over by the carnival queen with folk dancing, fire breathers, live music, and beautiful, beautiful colorful floats. So, Kathy, thank you so much. We congratulate Yazira. And please tell her that we really, really loved her images and really thank you so much for sharing. So let's talk about the materials for Art Center. In the art area, make available crayons and papers of different tones, have a variety of textures and colors that might be used in contemporary and traditional crafts found in the children's and your community. Children do art activities associated with varied cultures. Art materials associated with different cultures are used, such as color sands for sand painting, clay for making pottery, and origami paper for simple paper folding activities. Avoid ready-made art projects. Encourage children to use their imagination and personal styles for all projects. Display the children's work and talk about how they use a variety of colors and shapes in their art and thinking. So, what about materials for construction? Construction area supply a variety of transportation. Vehicles such as trucks, cars, motorcycles, and bicycles supplement blocks with natural materials such as twigs or stones, feature animals that are related to topics that the children are exploring, and to the countries from around the world, places of origin from the children's families. Books with the pictures of different structures and buildings from countries around the world, and books with different kinds of transportations. In the Science Center, include examples and pictures that are related to the local plants and wildlife and others that are related to the places of origin of the children's families. Display books about all kinds of animals, plants, weathers, all around the world. Consider that some children may never experience snow before. Explore the world with your children by planning activities to teach about different countries every week. Ask parents to get involved with children in creating My Culture, My Country display to showcase. Show movies about different cultures, continents, countries, animals, and plants. Display posters about local wildlife, different habitats, and plants. In the Library Center, display books that reflect the family constellations of the children in the room. Books should reflect the diversity of life, even when the composition of the classroom appears not diverse. Introduce books and use them to talk about differences and similarities between people. Discuss the children's feelings about differences. Address children comments and introduce them to anti-bias ideas. Use some words in different languages to talk about routines. Say hello or goodbye in different language. Teach them count and name the names of the day in different languages. Display poster illustrating different abilities and languages. The examples must be easily seen by children and in the space that is used for a large part of the day. For example, they must be located in the classroom where the children spend most of their time, rather than in the hallway or in another classroom used for a short period of time. So next, I wanted to show some example of the best children books about diversity. So as you can see, you have some books about families, our different colors, and those are the books that are great to read to children on daily basis. The book should also include different kinds of transportation, children with autism. Let's talk about different homes. Let's talk about different costumes, different clothing. So all those books represent a variety of books that are good to introduce children to diversity. But now I wanted to show the percentage of of the cultures represented in the books in early childhood education centers from 2018, brought to you by University of Wisconsin. And let's just look at this. Only 1% books represent American Indians, 5% Latin, 7 Asian, 10% African American, 27% represent animals and other silly things, and 50% represent white. Let's just think that. Let's just think. We can do better. We need funding. We need purchase more books. How we do that? Let's reach out to our partners in community, other businesses, and fundraise it. Have donations. We need to do better. We need to represent all these cultures in equal numbers. So, knock knock, Ida.
Who's there? Poll time? Yay!
It's me, Agnes, with another poll.
Yay!
So the next poll, creating a caring, equitable school community of engaged learners is only needed in the VPK classroom. True or false? So cast your vote. They are coming quick.
Oh, click, click, click. I like that.
All right, everybody's voting. Make your voice heard. Vote.
In every way.
All right, we are almost half through. I am about to close the poll. And I'm closing. Wow, all right. 95% says no. And you are right. We need to start from early years so we can expose children so they don't develop these biases and all this negative thinking. So we have to start from very early years. So not only for VPK. Thank you guys for voting. So next, we're going to watch a short clip about celebrating diversity and inclusion in the classroom. So I hope you enjoy it. Okay, so next, Ida will examine language and communication with a diversity-rich lens. So take it away, Ida.
Thank you, Agnes. So we're going to talk about language and communications. So I might have mentioned this earlier about honoring the child's home language. So as educators, we cannot be proficient in all the languages in our classrooms. That would be nice. But like I said, knowing a few words or phrases will be very helpful. English is the language that we are going to be instructing in our programs. It is the only language that's going to be common to those children in your classroom as they all gather in there. And they may not know everyone there is going to either learn English or have English as a basis. So the most practical model of carrying an instruction of young children is the English language in your classroom, but combining it in with the home language support. We cannot be saying, oh, no, you can't speak that language here, or you can't say those words. No, you can't, no. It's embracing and embodying all these beautiful different languages. Children need to learn English skills to be successful in kindergarten and elementary school, yes, but they also deserve to receive a support in their home language as well. So honoring the home language means giving them a special place in your curriculum, such as recommendations for teachers to sing songs in another language, or you can play music in another language, like Agnes mentioned earlier. Give them a greeting in their home language. That will surprise them. You'll be like, "Hola, Lisa, ¿cómo está?" They're like, what? What's going on? And then the parents will be so excited as well. Honoring home languages is important in the classroom as it is at home. It teaches all the children that all languages have value. And then monolinguistical English children and immigrant children learn that their friend's home language have different sounds and different words. And sometimes they even sound a little similar. So immigrant parents are facing many challenges when they arrive to the United States. Their main motivation is to give what? Why do you move from one country to another? To give a better life for yourself and for your children. They want their children to maintain their home language while also learning English. Educators can support families by reassuring them that speaking the home language at home is important. It helps families preserve their culture and emotional connections. Families also need reassurance that you will teach them English in your classroom so that the children can be ready for kindergarten in the United States and as they go through, elementary school, high school, college, and the rest of the things. But in the next slide, I'm going to talk about some strategies that we can incorporate. So gather information from families on the children's experience with home language and with English. A personal meeting is more effective than a questionnaire because if they can't read English, a questionnaire is not going to be very good unless you translate it into their home language. Also, some families may have a low level of formal education or their language is not a written language. You may come across that. But that's okay. Those challenges we're going to overcome. Explain to parents that continuing the home language at home is good for children and family. Little story and real quick. In my household, my mom's value and attitude is that you're going to learn English in school, but when you get home, I was not allowed to speak English. And she was like, you're not going to lose your home language. And she did me a favor because I didn't, and I am bilingual. I'm kind of like Spanglish because my Spanish is not as great, but it's a great thing because being bilingual is good for the brain. So I guess my brain is very good. So also translate jargon of early childhood education into plain English. Sometimes our vocabulary as educators, parents will say, like, what is she talking about? Because I can tell you social skills is about learning to share and getting along, while social skills may be something different in your home country, in your native land. Let families know that the topics of the things that you're teaching in the classroom, give them a weekly sheet in plain English. And like I said before, if you can translate it, that's great. Or you can have someone else, hey, this is what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about butterflies. So in school, you're talking about butterflies. You get home and you ask your child, what did you learn? Butterflies? Oh, mariposas. And you can reinforce the concept at home and in school. Have books in the languages of the children. They may not be able to read them, but they can kind of see things by the pictures and kind of like put two and two together and say, I think this book is about my country and the languages and the things that we do. Schedule parents and community helpers to visit on a regular basis, not just once a year, regular basis to read and sing and tell stories in their home languages. Use the technique of preview, view, and review. This technique works well to increase comprehension when you're reading a book, when you have an adult who speaks the language of the children. So you're going to preview the book in the home language, give the title and a brief summary of the story. You're going to read the book in English, and then you're going to review and discuss the book in the home language. Plan regular, isn't that great? I love this. Plan regular days and times to schedule to honor home languages. Label items around the classroom with visuals in English and the children's home language. You can have it in English and Spanish, or in English and French or Creole. So the more the merrier. Display posters with alphabets in different languages as well, as things are coming up in your slide. And in addition, during circle time, include greetings and songs and finger plays in the children's home language, adding them to your English repertoire. Awesome. Wasn't that great strategies? Okay, now we're going to talk about behavioral guidance and strategies. So behavior guidance is the aspect of early education that is more vulnerable to educators' biases. Focus on providing behavior guidance rather than classroom management. There is a difference. So let's talk about that. Classroom management is about control and punishment, sometimes the way, depending on how you implement your classroom management. Yes, classroom management is a good thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's how you implement it. Behavior guidance is about teaching young children the social skills that they need to function in a social setting of the classroom. Your classroom is a social setting of all these diverse children. Children must learn self-awareness, self-control, cooperation, and empathy. Punishment teaches criticism, confrontation, humiliation, and retribution. So you see the difference. So when early educators have preconceived ideas about children's behavior based on their gender, race, ethnicity, social, economic status, they expect the children will be exhibiting negative behaviors. So sometimes we do this, like boys will be boys and boys are going to do this and girls going to do this, and then we go out of the realm. So be aware of your own biases against all the children. Like I said, especially we tend to do that with boys and girls and kind of try to or they even start saying them themselves, no, boys do this and girls do that. And no. Let us train yourself to look at these children with a positive lens. And we need to be aware of that. Okay. So that being said, we're going to move on. All right. We're going to be examining families with a diversity-rich lens. So when we're working with children, we are working with the families. It's a whole circle of life, as I call it. Some educators find that challenging. They probably have more patience with the children than with the parents, but understanding behaviors or parents can be more complex to them. They go, I don't want to deal with the parents. I'd rather deal with the children, especially if they're from differences from your own expectations. So families may make decisions in a way that is different from how you think or how you would do it as in your own family, because they come from another culture and traditions. So how do we respond? Some families, men and women, may have decisions based on their skills, religious beliefs, or roles assigned to them by their culture. And it's not like, oh, well, I wouldn't do that. You need to understand that some cultures have different roles when it comes to men and women, and it's okay. The family is an ultimate decision maker for the service and support for their children. At the same time, the educator's job is to prepare parents to inform them of the decisions. We are cultural guides to education. Educators have a formal training and experience the families do not have. So we are the educators. We're educating their children and preparing them for kindergarten, first grade, and so on. So it is the job of the educator to guide the family to understand our work as educating their children. All families want to feel welcome. They want their children to feel welcome in your classroom, and early education may be a little intimidating for them. Parents may have fears and hopes for their children, and they want reassurance that their children will be taken care of. And that is something that we all like, once you give your child, is she going to take care of, she's going to love him or her as much as I love them. They have important funds of knowledge about the culture and the children. So, but yet immigrant families what they want is their children to be successful in their new country and home and be accepted. So educators must open and curious about families and their expectations. So be open-minded about that. That helps them be culturally sensitive. Families are curious about teachers too. So share some things about you as well to them. And in the next one, I'm going to talk about some strategies that we can use. So first thing, listen to the perspective of families by giving them opportunities to say what they think. Give that time, have that conversation with them. Share about yourself, like I mentioned before, your culture, your family, and education. I could talk to people about me because I just love me all day long. Explain to families how your learning activities help educate children. Give families feedback on how their children are learning in the program. And it is okay to tell families that they are their child's first teacher. Who's the first teacher? Is mom, dad, and the family. So with that being said, you can tell them educators are the teachers of school and families are the teachers for life. Love that. Let's go on. Okay, it's time for a poll. Doom, 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 doom. Agnes, where are you? Knock, knock.
You're knock, knock. It's me.
Okay, so here we go. Thank you, Agnes. An effective strategy of program leadership is to hire a diverse, rich staff. What's that about? Let's see. Launch the poll, Agnes, and we have about 60 seconds to click, 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 and then we'll let you know. How's it going, Agnes? Click, click.
They are voting.
Oh, yay. Okay.
Our wonderful participants are so engaged.
Oh, so excited. I'm so happy.
We almost got through.
Okay. So a couple of more of you, click, click, and we will share the results in a few.
Okay, I'm going to
Close the poll.
poll and share the results.
True, 84%. Yes. So we're going to be discussing that in the next slides. Oh, kiss your brain. Love you guys. Okay, so colleagues and strategies for working with your staff and your colleagues. So let's talk about this. Celebrate and embrace differences in your colleagues. Yay. And that's why for me, the friendship that I have with Agnes has been celebrated and we embrace it. Gossip creates a negative climate. You nip that in the bud, address it and stop it. So, when it comes to going to left field, licensing rules, best practice, and program goals are non-negotiable for our professional responsibilities as educators. So keep that in mind. Create a caring community of workers by smiling. Doesn't hurt that smiling. It's kind of hard not to smile because all of us have masks, but smile. You can tell when someone's smiling. Greet each other and share materials and equipment. Sometimes we can be little hoarders and we don't want to share with our colleagues, but we need to share. Attend professional development on the topics of personal disposition and learning styles and cross-cultural competence. And then follow up after these professional developments. Learn about each other through small informal interactions that build cohesive and interest in each other. So program leadership and strategies. This is where that poll question comes to play. So when you hire employees who reflect our diversity of the children and families, and as the children in the classroom are diverse, so should your staff and employees be as well. Talk about the cultural differences and similarities in daily conversations, Share ideas and briefs about each other's own cultures, accepting that everyone's culture has value is the first step. Listen to your staff's cultural perspective relating to the job of caring and educating children and working with families. Provide differentiated professional development, as I mentioned before, and communicate in several ways, either group meetings, individual meetings, text, emails, to address the various styles and abilities of staff. Celebrate success by recognizing the positive elements of your work, the learning of children, the appreciation of families, and the friendships of staff members that you're going to be creating. Use a tool to assess your program, and that's one of the handouts that we have. And then provide diversity activities for your staff and children in your program. And Agnes is going to talk to you about some of those diversity activities. Take it away, Agnes.
Thank you, Ida, for this great information. So I'm just going to quote this from the book Happy in Our Skin by Fran Manushkin. Bouquet of babies sweet to hold, cocoa brown, cinnamon, and honey gold. Ginger-colored babies, peaches and cream too. Splendid skin for me, splendid skin to you. So one of those questions that children sometimes ask is, why does he have different color skin than me? Well, one of those activities we can do with children, and we can adjust this activity to different ages. For example, you can do this activity with your staff during the staff meeting, or with after schoolers, the youth in your center on afternoon. Well, this activity will be great because we can use milk and powder chocolate or cocoa, and add in more or less to different cup and represent different shade of cocos, and talk about this thing that we've been equipped by nature, which we call melanin. So we can explain that some of us have that thing that is dark brown or black, and we call that pigment, and it's occurring in the hair, skin, and iris of the eye in people and animal, and is responsible for tanning of skin exposed to sunlight. So some of us were born and raised, for example, in Europe, like me. So there is not that much sun. We have only summer, a couple of months, and the most of the year is cold. So the nature didn't equip us with a lot of melanin in our skin. So we are lighter. But there are countries like in Africa that the sun is very, very hot all around the year. So the nature equipped those people with more melanin in their skin to protect them from the sun. So this will explain why we are different shades, because that depends which part of the world we are and how much we expose to the sun. So this will be great activity that here you can adjust that and use coffee and more or less add more or less milk to make different shades of coffee, and the milk will be representing melanin in here. So I think that would be great activity to answer some of those questions. And if you remember the activity from the first video, you can also use brown and white egg, and after we crash the eggs, they are the same inside. So this is just something that we've been equipped by the nature, but we all different inside. So that will open discussions also. Does the color of people's skin make them good or bad, more intelligent or less intelligent, pretty or ugly? What does the color of person's skin tell you about the person? These are open-ended conversations that you might have. Educate your children, your coworker, your staff, so we can come to the same conclusion that we are just the same humans. The nature equipped us with a little bit more or less melanin to protect us from sun. So this book that I took the quote is an excellent book to read to young children, Happy in Our Skin by Fran Manushkin. So these words in that book prompt the tutor to the children to describe their own skin, and they might say, my skin is cinnamon, one child says. Mine is more cocoa, says another. And then Miss Franklin from the book affirms their observations, and each of us is unique by saying we are different in lots of ways, including our race. She then takes out multicultural paint and guides the children as they mix the colors to match their own skin. In this snapshot, Ms. Franklin, using a color-aware approach, reads to the children from high-quality literature that addresses concepts related to racial differences in a positive manner. Second, she encouraged them to respond to the text. And finally, she uses the opportunity to extend children's considerations of the racial identity by giving them time, materials, and pedagogical support to extend their learning throughout the appropriate activity. So this is a great example of great book that you can read it and also use it for activities. So another great book that we wanted to share with you is This Little Dreamer, and it represents different people from different cultures with different shades of skin, but they all have something in common. They are all great, and this book gives us a chance to share with the children that we are the same. We all have beautiful mind and great mind, and we can achieve an amazing things. So we're going to take turns with Ida and read it to you. Inspiring others to be peaceful and fair, a hope for the future with ideas to share. Little dreamers make our big world better. This little dreamer was born a slave. She accepted freedom, which was very brave. Sojourner Truth spoke out to say that women of all colors should be allowed to vote and that slavery was wrong.
This little dreamer believed in the cause of protecting animals by making new laws. Henry Berg began the ASPCA to ensure fair treatment of animals and to help pets find families to love them.
This little dreamer was a nurse who cared. She tended Civil War soldiers when they were hurt or scared. Clara Barton was the first president of the American Red Cross, which helps people survive disasters like floods and fires.
This little dreamer loved nature as a boy. He helped build national parks that we all can enjoy. John Muir and some friends formed the Sierra Club, which works to protect parkland and wilderness areas in the U.S.
This little dreamer refused to fight. Using peaceful protest, he showed his mind. Mahatma Gandhi led the people of India to freedom from being ruled by Great Britain.
This little dreamer was a Catholic nun who spent her life caring to help everyone. Mother Teresa took action to get hospitals, schools, and food for poor and sick people in India and everywhere.
This little dreamer marched on Washington, D.C. to speak about freedom and equality. Reverend Martin Luther King Jr.'s famous I Have a Dream speech encouraged everyone to treat people of color the same.
This little dreamer demanded fair pay for workers picking fruits and doing farm work all day. Dolores Reja and Cesar Chavez organized great pickers and American shoppers to win better treatment for farm workers.
This little dreamer says I dissent when she disagreed with the court's judgment. Ruth, our beloved late Ruth Bader Ginsburg, was the second woman on the U.S. Supreme Court where she made decisions that kept laws fair for all people. And she was the first woman to be laid in the state.
This little dreamer led a program to provide better care and medicine to fight disease worldwide. Jim Young Kim moved from South Korea to the US at the age of 5. He became a doctor and works to help poor countries succeed.
Kindness, sharing, speaking out, fair play. Who could you do to help others someday? The end. So this is an awesome book to introduce children to all these amazing legendary people. So next, Ida will go over some handouts that we have for you. So Ida, take it away.
Thank you. So remember, when you go into the task, you're going to hit handouts. We have 5 handouts and they're awesome. So don't forget to download, and they'll be at PDF form. If you have any issues, let us know, and we're going to get our contact information later. Remember, you will get your certificate within 24 hours after this training to the email that you signed up to or registered. And this is a little preview of the handout. So one of them is an article promoting acceptance of diversity. The other one is a checklist of promoting acceptance of diversity. So it's like a checklist from Eckers. The next one is the activities or more activities of the diversity that you can use with your youth and adults. So Agnes went over one today. An article, Reading Your Way to a Culturally Responsive Classroom from NACCE, very great article. And this is the other checklist that we mentioned, the Diverse Rich Environment Checklist. So it's there for you to check away and really examine your classroom. And these are our references, so where we got all the plethora of information that we presented today. The third one, Creating Diversity Rich Environment, is a great book to have. Love the book and all of the references that we got. And Agnes is going to take it away with our contact information.
So if you have any questions about this presentation, please feel free to contact us. My email is abodi@elcbro.org and Ida is abrar@elcbro.org. And please like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram and Twitter. These are the social platforms, our addresses to those social platforms. So please follow us there. And then upcoming webinars. Next Thursday, November 5th, 7 to 8:30 p.m., we're going to have wonderful training with PK Einstein's Learn About Scientific Inquiry, presented by our wonderful co-workers Anna Avalon Atkinson and Greta Arroyo, who are also quality and education coaching specialists. And then Tuesday, November 10th, 7 to 8:30 p.m., Let's Talk About Teach, presented by our co-worker quality and education coaching specialist, Ms. Gordia Rose, who will be talking about about the class, how to get involved with it, and all this good information. And we also are pleased to officially announce that our new website will be launching on November 3rd. Our goal with this new website is to provide our visitors an easier way to learn about our services and gain access to the trainings, forms, and helpful videos. The new website is creative, interactive, and gives better access to the web pages. We will be constantly updating our content with the helpful information, articles, newsletters, ELC Broward announcements, and success stories in the blog section. So we hope you enjoy our new website and that is used as a source of information for all of you here, Broward County providers and families. So we want you to remember and acknowledge you are a good person who cares about children. You have studied childhood development. You attend conferences and professional development workshops to enhance your knowledge. You are skilled at teaching young children. Your culture is part of the diversity in your classroom, in your program. So we wanted to thank you, dear teachers. We salute you. We know how hard you're working for our children and families here in Broward County. So what is the definition of you, the teacher? None, a multitasking educational rockstar who lives to inspire, loves to encourage, and makes the world a better place. Cinemas, superstar, Zoom expert, difference maker. So on behalf of myself and Ida, we thank you, our dear providers and teachers. And remember, if we all could see the world through the eyes of a child, we would see the magic in everything. Chi And on that note, I would like to thank you all for participating this afternoon and giving us the opportunity to share this topic with you that is so dear to my heart and Ida's. So I also would like to thank my wonderful co-presenter Ida for working with me. It's always fun. And thank you, Ms. Tiffany, our wonderful manager who is here with us, managing all the questions and make us better every day and always giving her support to us when we have to work on building such a presentation. So thank you from me. Have a good afternoon. And Ida, would you like to say something?
Oh, yes. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And thank you, Tiffany. This has been a great, like Agnes said, something that we wanted to share with everyone. Have those conversations with each other. Diversity is a beautiful thing. And thank you again for joining us and sharing your afternoon with us. And like we said, if you have any questions, you have our emails. Have a great afternoon and be safe, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Agnes. You're amazing. And Tiffany too.
You too.
Okay.
Bye,
You're very
everyone.
welcome.
Bye, everyone.